It was about 25 years ago that I say we completed, but I didn't do it. It was you, Dad. You and your team did a research project that ended up producing a book called Surprising Insights from the Unchurched. And it really was a breakthrough study in many ways. You shattered a lot of long held myths about how the unchurched felt about the church. And so we thought, let's ask them again and see if anything has changed. Guess what? We have the answers. We have the answers. We got, we've got this new research project. We're going to be talking about it on today's episode.
Oh, I know we got this new research project, but I thought you were asking me to give a summary of it and how have things gone. Here's my assessment. I think things are actually better in terms of our ability to connect with the unchurched than they were when I did that research. My team did that research 25 years ago. And even though we're reaching fewer people, I think Matthew 9 or is it Luke 10? I think both of those are in operation in powerful sense right now that the harvest is ready. We just need to pray for workers to go into the harvest field, because if there's anything that came out of this, it is there are some people that kind of like churches. They like our churches. They don't think we're dumb, stupid, or irrelevant. There may be a few people who think that, but that is not what the masses think of this unchurched. So I'm getting ahead of it, Sam. I know you've got a sponsor. I know you want to talk about our good friends at California Baptist, but this is an exciting project. Let's get into it after you do your spiel.
Yeah, we'll get into some of the results here in just a moment, but we certainly want to thank CBU, California Baptist University. They have a new online bachelor's degree in Christian ministries, and it helps develop servant leaders. There are lots of tools and for understanding and communicating biblical truths through this program. So I'm excited about this. I'm just generally excited about California Baptist University. They've got a beautiful campus, although they've got good online programs. So whether you are a resident student or whether you do their online program, both are excellent. They've got a breadth of courses that they offer, tons of online degrees. It's just a solid institution. It's one of those institutions that you're glad exist, right? There's a lot of distrust with institutions. This is one that I think stands above many others, if not top tier sort of institutions.
I have never heard a negative word about California Baptist. I'm sure that they're not perfect.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I'm sure somebody said something, but when we're talking to people about them, it's all positive. We know people who have sent their children there, and they think the world of California Baptist. So exactly. CBU is a great institution. They have some financial aid available, thanks to some CBU donors. Online undergraduate degrees in Christian ministries and Christian studies may qualify, plus some additional scholarships. So you should definitely check them out. Go to calbaptist.edu. Again, calbaptist.edu. You can learn more there. Tell them we sent you and go investigate that bachelor's degree in Christian ministries. It's a really good one.
So whether you go to Riverside or whether you're looking at your computer screen, it's a great place to be. Great education. I love that place. I love it. Let's talk about this research, Sam. This was a fantastic research project. We want to thank Cheney and Associates for being our presenting sponsor for it and paying the bills. So thank you, Steve Cheney, if you're listening, for your organization out in California as well. Cheney and Associates got a California representation today. Let's hit some highlights of this, Sam, and then we'll let the audience download it and read it for themselves.
Yeah, and just a quick programming note, it's free. Thanks to Cheney and Associates, you can get the entire report. This is a massive report, all sorts of new data in it, brand new stuff, brand new research. You can get it free. There is a link in the show notes that you can click on, or you can go to churchanswers.com and you'll get a pop-up and you can just sign up there. I know not everyone likes pop-ups, but we do want to make sure that you get this report. That's just gross. Don't do the mouth noises. And nobody even can, if those who are listening online can't even see what you're doing to make the popping sound. But
you don't like any mouth noises.
I never have. It's
never
just
have.
a thing.
You don't
Yeah.
like ice being crunched. You don't like gum being chewed. None of the above. And now you don't like cheeks being popped.
Well, there is only one thing for that will be in hell that will sustain you, and it's gum. That's my theory. Yeah, I don't like gum at
I don't
all.
like gum either.
So you can get the report for free. That's the point. Thank you, Cheney. It's free to all of you who are listening. So click on that link in the show notes or go to churchanswers.com. So let's dive in. Uh, believe it or not, and you should believe it because we've done the research. Most people who are not churched, who don't have a connection to church, have a positive perception of the church. They believe that churches are generally good for their communities.
And
So
when we
this is a big national study. Dad, 60% of people who don't go to church say, yes, church is generally good.
And when you look at the negative ones, it's pretty small on that. So it's not like 40% were all negative. There's a lot of neutral and so in there. So 60% was a huge number. And we did not ask this particular question in the original research we did back 25 years ago. But I can tell you just from the general ethos of how our research team responded, this is a more positive attitude about the church than the unchurched had 25 years ago. And that's a great opportunity. It's just not as negative as you think it is. And this research is a point in time. Over several days, we got this data in. And then I just, following this research, I've just been watching attitudes. And I did a book kind of related to this about attitudes from unchurched people. And I really am seeing a trend toward more positive assessment of local churches, even from atheists who are saying everybody should go to church. I mean, Dawkins is saying that. Elon Musk is saying that. So I think this is a great opportunity for local churches, and this particular research affirms that reality.
Yeah, it's almost like cultural Christianity went away and people everywhere said, we might be missing something.
Mm-hmm.
And hear me out. I understand cultural Christianity wasn't all good either, certainly. And there were plenty of people who thought they were Christian and they're not. And we have to be very, very careful about that. But with everyone moving more secular, what happened was there was a vacuum and people noticed that vacuum. And all of a sudden people are saying, you know what, maybe church isn't so bad. And what that does is it presents an opportunity for the church. But Dad, this next point is even more shocking. This was probably the biggest surprise in the entire study. Why don't you share with us what we found?
The unchurched believe churches are relevant, but not trustworthy. Significant surprise emerged. Non-attendees view the church as more relevant today than churchgoers, but not necessarily in the issue of trust. But the big thing to me was the relevance thing. The unchurched see the church as more relevant than those who are in the churches. I don't know what that means, but I know that it's an opportunity.
Yeah, so let me repeat this in case you're only halfway paying attention. Is the church relevant? Church people say it's less relevant than unchurched people. Like, how is this possible? And it's just that was one of the most fascinating pieces of this study. It's like, yes, the church is relevant generally. This is what the unchurched are saying. Yes, the church is relevant still today. I believe it can still do good. I just don't trust the ones in my community. And so this is like church. If you just build a bridge, the receptivity is there. You've got people who say, hey, I trust, I think that the institution that is the church can do good. Yes, I still think it's relevant. I just don't know that I trust you because I don't know you. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you guys are doing. I see your building, but I don't know what's going on in there. I still think you can do good. This is a massive opportunity for the church.
And usually we talk about our ministry partners at the end and at the beginning, front bumper, end bumper. I'm going to change things just a little bit. Just change it a little bit. Upward sports. You want to say, how can I connect with my community? You're telling me, Sam and Tom, that the unchurched have a more favorable view about the relevance of the church than the church do. Okay, how can I connect with those people? It blows me away how simple yet powerfully effective it is through sports leagues. Not too many people are anti-sports, and Upward's been around for quite a while, but now they are. I think they are more relevant than ever, even though they've always been relevant, and they are offering you the opportunity in your church to connect to the community through sports, whether you have a gym or maybe a field or just a parking lot. They can do basketball, cheerleading, soccer, flag football, volleyball, baseball, soccer, all as league offerings. So, Sam, I know we typically talk about our sponsors or our ministry partners at the beginning of the end, but I wanted to answer the question that maybe is asked at this point: how can we do this? And this is just a prime example. I love Upward. Sorry, get
I
excited about
I
them.
think so. Go, yeah, please check them out at upward.org/church answers. Um, there's your bridge right there. So you may say, well, how do I get connected? Sports program, recreation ministry, and Upward
They're
does it better
signing up
than
for
anybody
2025
else.
right now. So
They
get in
are.
on the 2025 sign up. I know that's supposed to be at the end, but this was such a perfect segue because they answered the question now.
Yes. So let's move on to this next point. The unchurched, again, this is all about the unchurched. The unchurched are open to friendships through the church, but they are intimidated to visit because they don't feel welcome. Now, I'm making that sounds like a general statement, but we have the data behind it. These are questions that we asked, and just for the sake of not being boring, I'm not walking you through all of the methodology of how we found this out and all of the numbers. Nobody wants to listen to that. It's better if you read it, so go get the report. But let me just say this: the people in your community that aren't connected to a church are telling us through the research, yeah, I'd like some friendships with people in the church. I'm just a little intimidated because I don't know much about it. So, example, I recently did an interfaith dialogue at the local university. Won't get into all the details there. It was a lot of fun. Very, very well done. State College of Florida put it on and did a did a great job, and had a chance to talk with an imam and uh, a Unitarian Universalist and a Jewish leader, and so we all, so it wasn't a debate; it was a dialogue, and it was very pleasant. And the Muslim leader was like, "You should come. We do church on Saturdays. You come to my church, I'll come to your church." And I thought, okay, okay. And he was willing to kind of show me around and do all that stuff. I haven't followed up yet. I need to. But, though I'm certainly not going to change my religion ever, that's just not going to happen. I would have otherwise, if I had not been invited and told, hey, here's how things are, just come on by. We'd love to have you, love for you to be a guest. Here's what you can expect. If I hadn't had, I would have never just, driven up to St. Pete just to do this. So the receptivity is out there. People are open to friendships, even if they don't necessarily know that what they believe. They're open to friendships, but you have to invite them. You have to uh, get them over that hump of the intimidation factor.
An invitation is most effective if you invite and then walk with someone. And what I mean by that is, say you're going to meet someone in the parking lot. Hey, just wait on me. I'll give you a call or give you a text, and we'll walk into the church building together. That takes away a lot of the intimidation factor because they don't know what goes on. You say, well, there's nothing to it. That's because all of us who are in church have been in church. That sounds a bit redundant, but that's the truth. Now, if you want to get someone outside the church, it's not just hand them a card and invite them. It's say, hey, I'll meet you. We'll go together. We'll have lunch afterwards. A specific invitation. That's where invitations become most effective. And I think that will overcome the barrier that these unchurched have, where they're basically intimidated about going to church, even though they would love to establish friendships in the church.
Indeed. So here's another thing that we found. Why? Why don't unchurched people attend? Why don't they just show up? Nobody does that anymore. Nobody just shows up. Why? We asked, and here's what we found. It is not because I'm too busy. It's not the case. They'll make the time if you invite them. It's not because they're antagonistic. They're not. Most people think that churches are generally good for their communities. The reason, one, it's a bit spiritual, and you can dive into the data in the report, but the overall theme is indifference. They just don't know.
They don't
Why,
know, and so they cannot care. And so it's just another
exactly.
activity that's out there,
If you don't know, you don't care.
right?
And so it takes churched people doing gospel work, outreach, as we call it, to inform the unchurched as to what they're missing and why it's important. They're just indifferent. If people think, oh, they're too busy. No, if you tell somebody, I know you're busy, but they're going to use that as the excuse. They're going to hold on to that. But that's not why. When we dig into the data, we find that it's not because they're antagonistic. It's not because they're busy. They just don't know, so they're indifferent.
Um, Again, this stuff is so rich. We're just giving highlights of it. We're not giving you the percentages and the charts and all that. You can get that in the report. You can download it free. We have the link there. You can go to Church Answers, and as Sam said, the pop up will pop up, and you can get it right there. What else, Sam?
Now, this one is when I wrote it after reading all of the data, I thought this one's going to get me in trouble, but it's true. It's
It
just
is
the
true.
truth. I'm just reporting the facts. So let me share with you the facts. Churched people care more about worship style and programming and denominational preferences. The top reason churched people attend is because someone invited them. But then what follows from that, invite's the key to everything, but whether churched or unchurched. But what follows with a churched person is, oh, this is a denomination. Ooh, I like the worship. Ooh, I like the preaching. Ooh, I like the programming. The unchurched, all of that stuff is at the bottom of the list. You know why? Because they don't go to church. They don't even know what they're supposed to like or not like. They don't know what good preaching is. They've never heard it before. So, you know, this and I'm gonna be a bit punchy here. The church that markets, we're the church for the unchurched. It's like, no, you're not. We're the cool church. We have the modern music and all that you're doing is attracting other churched people that have preferences that they like. The unchurched don't know anything. Maybe they have a history back in the day where as a kid they went to church, but it's been so long ago they don't remember. The unchurched people don't care about any of that stuff. Now, I'm sure when they arrive, do they want quality? Of course. They can tell if somebody's a good communicator, of course. But that's not why they're there. You know why an unchurched person shows up?
Invited in relationships.
Someone built a bridge to them through a relationship, and they invited them. And they
Simple as that.
guess which church they go to. Guess which
The
church they
one,
go to?
the one where someone invited them.
The one that they got invited to. Yes. It's not like you know this friend, you invite them and, hey, will you come to my church? And they go, well, is the preaching good? Is the worship modern or traditional or whatever? No, they just show up to the church that they were invited to. And I know people listening to this go, well, that's common sense, but you know what? We have this massive effort in church world that's not that. That's very much a very different approach to ministry. And this is why we get the sheep shuffle. It's because churches are trying to do it. And if we focused on those who are unchurched, we would see a lot more fruit.
Exactly. I used to do a podcast with Mark Clifton. We had several years where we worked together. Love that guy. Love the podcast that we did together. And he would often say, "Look, guys," talking to pastors and others. "Look, guys, if you want to get people into your church, don't worry about being the coolest church. Don't worry about having the best music. You can improve those things later. The unchurched don't know anything about that. They'll come to your church if you develop a relationship with them, and they will be more happy with the relationship than all of these factors that the church are looking at, where it becomes a consumer approach with the church, whether it's a relational approach with the unchurched. It's good stuff. This is a good research project, Sam, and I know you provided the leadership of it, and we got all the data and all of the questions that you can see in the charts, and it's all free. Thank you, Cheney and Associates, for making it free and for providing that funding for this particular research project. And I've already mentioned Upward Sports. And I'm just going to say one more time, hey, now is the time to plan for your 2025 sports. Now is the time. If you really want to touch your community and develop some relationships, I've done a few videos for them where we're talking about how it can work. And I'm sure those folks at Upward will be happy to share that with you. So get into that, Upward Sports / Church Answers. Any final words, Sam?
No, we'd love to get the report in your hands. There's a lot more data there. Maybe doing some future episodes around it as well. We've got some several findings. And by the way, if you're interested in us doing research for you, we have a team now that can do all this. So if you're wanting to sponsor some research, you happen to be listening to this, we can do some proprietary stuff for you. So give me a
they
shout
can
out.
sponsor
Sam
research.
at Church Answers.
I'm
Yeah, I
sorry,
was just going to say Sam at churchanswers.com.
So we're already doing sponsored, like Cheney. We do the research and they do the funding. And we're also doing proprietary research for customers where they specifically tell us what they want. So different ways to do it. As always, thank you for being a part of Rainer on Leadership. Hey, YouTubers, thank you for watching us. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Tell people that you like Rainer on Leadership. For those of you who are on your podcasting app, thanks for listening as always. We'll be back every week. And in 2025, we'll be back twice a week. We'll see you at Rainer on Leadership.